I'm Tony Lombardi with a Russell Street Recap, brought to you by Casamillas of Whitemarsh. Like all teams, the Ravens do their fair share of scouting and homework on prospective collegiate talent when it comes to the physical skills and abilities of athletes. They are often described as measurables. These are real: the 40 times, the vertical leap, the strength and endurance test, the agility drills, all real, all tangible. But sometimes it's the intangibles that make the difference between whether or not an athlete can successfully navigate from the amateur ranks to professional in the wide world of sports. So if you accept the value of intangibles, how do you identify them? Where do you look, and why are they so important? For the Ravens, the clues of character lie in how a player has dealt with adversity. It is the team's collective opinion that experiencing and successfully dealing with adversity will help a player make the transition from college to the NFL. Collegiate players who are of NFL caliber are accustomed to success on the field, and in many cases, they are also coddled and directed through school via the paths of least resistance off the field. Life is often made easier for them because of the way society clings to, craves, and even underwrites superior athleticism. In many ways, they are the spoiled children of sport. But what happens when these athletes finally meet their match? When winning doesn't happen as easily? Perhaps it's then that they dig in a little deeper, try a little harder, study a little bit more film, lift more weights, stay in at nights. Or do they take the lazy approach and just assume that eventually they will win as they always have? Or even worse, do they quit? Let's consider some Ravens from the past who weathered adversity. Ray Lewis grew up without a father. Ed Reed was raised in a one-bedroom home with his 4 siblings. Haloti Ngata lost his dad tragically, and his mom passed away shortly thereafter, all before being drafted by the Ravens. Ladarius Webb's parents were plagued by the demons of addiction. Jameel McClain was homeless. Michael Orr's mother was a crack addict, his father in prison, and he wandered the mean streets of Memphis. Paul Kruger was nearly stabbed to death defending his sister. Torrey Smith was the oldest of 7 siblings raised by a single mother and bore the responsibilities of helping to raise his brothers and sisters. All of these men were athletes with tremendous talent who successfully tackled obstacles in their respective lives. They were battle-tested and better prepared for the challenges that are part of the transitional process into the professional ranks. There's a local sports talker, former GM, who preaches regularly that a leopard doesn't change its spots. It's a metaphor that suggests that players with character issues will always have those issues. He's wrong. When a team collects men of character, the Ray Lewises and Ed Reeds of the world, who embrace a culture, embrace the concept of team, they set the tone. They set the example. The message is clear. To suggest that a young man with a checkered past is incapable of maturing undermines the human spirit, and it paints a bleak picture of the world. Team is something near and dear to the heart of Ravens head coach John Harbaugh, and the more men of character you collect, the stronger the bond, and the easier it is to remind players that there is no I in team. Once that concept develops into a credo or even a way of life, the more likely you are to instill character. When that happens, even leopards may embrace it, inspired in part by team leaders who practice it. So pay no attention to that former GM from a team with no name who now hides behind the curtain of a mid-market radio station. I'm Tony Lombardi. Casamillas of Whitemarsh, a Baltimore County treasure for over 34 years, featuring Maryland's most tantalizing crab cakes. Don't live in the area? Casamillas will ship this Maryland delicacy to you. Plus, on any given Sunday, you and your friends can choose from their expansive selection of beer, wines, and spirits. That's right, I did say Sunday to put some juice in your football parties. For pickup, delivery, or eat-in, make it Casamillas of Whitemarsh.